Hi everybody and welcome to David's Garage. Today I'm going to be doing my 4-month review on my Nix boots in Predator Whiskey on the HNW Last. First, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has watched my videos, who's subscribed. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you guys have Nix boots, let me know down in the comments, what boot do you have, what leather do you have, and also what last do you have, just because I'm always looking to see what people are doing for Nix boots. So I'm really interested if you guys have Nix boots, what are your builds? So let me know down in the comments. So these are a made-to-order heritage boot that I ordered in their Predator Whiskey leather, and I got a size 10D. I went with the same size that I was in my Iron Rangers. Kind of took a bit of a gamble. I tried to do their sizing guide, but I don't know. I just took a gamble and just went with my Iron Ranger size. These are built on the HNW Last. I decided not to get a pull loop. I did get a toe cap with 4 rows of stitching. I just got the standard hooks and eyes in brass. I did decide to get the V100 lug sole since I was going to be wearing these for work. I did get a Celastic toe. I got a block heel. And for the edge color, I just went with beeswax only. And as you can see, the edge has darkened significantly as I've worn these over time. Nix boots, they do a double row stitch down construction on their boots, as you can see. All right, so I've owned these boots longer than 4 months. I think I've owned them for about 8 months now. It's just that the amount of time that I've worn these in my rotation, I would think equates to about 4 months of wear. So that's why I'm calling this my 4-month review. So these boots I have been wearing for work. If you guys have not heard of Nix boots, they are a PNW, which means Pacific Northwest. They are a PNW boot maker that's located up in Spokane, Washington. And they specialize in making super heavy duty work boots. They mainly make their boots for wildland firefighters, but Nix boots, as well as other PNW boot makers such as White's, Frank's, JK, Wesco, they make some of the toughest, if not the toughest boots in the world. So I wear these boots for work. I don't take it easy on them. I've put these through a lot. So this leather, it's Predator Whiskey and it comes from the Horween Tannery in Chicago. I believe it's a 7 to 8 ounce leather. Most of Nix boots leathers are going to be work leathers, usually in the 7 to 8 ounce range. I believe this leather was listed under their heritage leather, so it wasn't listed under their work boot leathers, but it's still a tough and rugged leather in my opinion. So on tanneryrow.com, they describe this leather as a combination tanned leather that blends the durability of a chrome tan base with a heavy vegetable retannage. We then incorporate a rich blend of waxes to create a tonal appearance of the leather, which will burnish over time and create a rich patina. And they say it has a subtle pull-up effect. So when I first got these, the leather actually looked pretty light and looked very matte, almost like a nubuck. And as I wore them, they actually got lighter and lighter, and I did oil these once. I think after 3 months, I oiled them with Red Wings leather cream, just because I didn't want to darken the leather too much. But I think that when I oiled them, it made the brown a little bit shiny, and also I think brought out more of those brown reddish tones. So it's still a very matte leather. It's not very shiny at all. All right, for the recommended care for this leather, I believe, is just to brush it often and oil it once it gets dry. For me, I just brush these every so often. I don't brush them very often. I should probably brush them at least once a week, but I brush them maybe a couple times a year. And for conditioning, like I said, I condition these once after 3 months, and I may do another conditioning just to make a video on it, but I don't think I would need to condition these for at least another maybe 4, 5, 6 months. This leather shouldn't need to be conditioned too often. So in my experience with this leather, the break-in on the uppers leather was actually pretty tough. Wasn't too crazy, but I would say it was pretty tough. But once I've gotten it broken in, it actually It has a really nice flex to it, but it's still pretty stiff. It has a really nice temper. Another thing I've noticed with Predator whiskey is that it does show scrapes and scratches really easily. Because it's a matte leather, you can see I just scratched it with my nail going backwards. And you can see that, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I don't think that's a negative. And I think that was designed on purpose just to give it a really different set of characteristics from, say, like a Chrome XL, which is what Horween's famous for. But one of the things that I really like about Nick's boots is they offer so many different kinds of leathers. They also offer Wicked and Craig leathers, which are more expensive, but they are really beautiful veg tan leathers. Now, Wicked and Craig, you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra because those are full veg tan leathers that take longer to make, but the patina on those leathers are gonna be amazing. The stitching is holding up very nicely. Have one little frame there. I could probably burn these little tips off that are sticking up, but otherwise that's pretty much it. In my opinion, I think that Nick's does a fabulous job with their finishing. Compared to some of my other boots, like even the Red Wing boots I've had tons of flyaways that I had to clean up and burn off. You know, this only has that one, otherwise the stitching is rock solid on these. Similar to White's boots, I've read things online where people complain about the quality control of Nick's boots, but similar to White's boots, if you look hard enough, you can find quality control complaints on anything, any company, any boot. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to make an excuse for Nick's boots. All I'm saying is that if you do order from Nick's boots and you're not happy with them, just make sure you don't wear them outside, try them on indoors, and just reach out to Nick's boots. They're usually really good with responding in terms of their customer service. So I've never had any issues, so I haven't had to go through that process. So let's take a look at the sole. As you can see on this one, I got the Vibram V100 lug, just the standard one, and it's holding up very nicely. See a little wear on the back of the heel there where my heel strikes the ground, but honestly it's not too much wear. And that's what I got these for. I got the V100 lug because I'm going to be wearing these for work. I'm going to be walking on a lot of uneven terrain, and I just want really solid grip, and I want something that's going to last a really long time. You can see the stitching and the screws are there, mainly for aesthetic purposes. The screws and the stitching really don't do most of the work. The glue does most of the work. But it is kind of cool to look at the bottom of your boot and see those screws and the stitching. Looks very nice. So let's talk about how has the comfort been. So I'll be honest, up until then, this was the toughest break-in I've ever experienced. I think it still is the toughest break-in I've ever experienced with the boot, because this was my first P&W boot, and when I put these on, honestly, they felt like I was wearing casts. It felt like I was wearing a cast on both of my feet. It was super solid, super stiff, and it wasn't even the uppers leather. The uppers leather probably broke in within maybe 2-3 weeks, but it was the sole. All of this leather underfoot was super stiff. I would say the first 2 weeks were probably the roughest, but after wearing these boots for, I would say, at least 3 months on foot, they finally started to feel really comfortable. As I wear them more and more, they're probably going to just keep breaking in and keep becoming more and more comfortable, more and more flexible. They're going to conform more to the shape of my feet, so I'm really happy with these boots. I really like the comfort. It's saying this leather is basically about 2.7 millimeters. Yeah, so that is a really thick, durable leather, really thick. So with that kind of leather, it's not going to be an easy break-in. It's not going to be like breaking in a Red Wing, which I don't think Red Wings break-ins are really significant when it comes to their upper leathers. The break-in on Red Wings is really that thick veg tan insole. But on these boots, you are going to have to break in a really thick upper leather, but then you're going to have tons of leather underfoot. That is going to take months to break in. So be ready for that. This is a leather insole, has a leather shank, has a leather midsole, has, you know, leather heel stack. The midsole, basically 1/4 of an inch. One thing I would note is I got the H&W last, okay? Now, because I wasn't familiar with P&W boots, I didn't really know anything about lasts. So I just went with the standard looking boot. I was like, oh, that looks like a normal boot, I'll get that one. Now knowing what I know now, I would have got these on the 55 last because I really like the arch support for the 55 last, and it feels really comfortable under my arch. So, but this boot is still, it's gonna feel like any other boot on the market in terms of arch support. It's not super curved, as you can see. It kind of just has that standard arch, just like you would see on most service boots. But if arch support is something you're looking for, and if you haven't tried the 55 last yet, I would definitely recommend getting something with arch support. You should do your research when it comes to last. I think that when it comes to buying boots, especially when you're going to spend this high amount of money, it's really, really important that you get a good last for your foot. So that's my one recommendation, is that if you're going to be buying a made to order, made to measure boot, just make sure you get a really good last that your foot really loves, okay? Is there anything I would change? Well, I've already mentioned this, but if I were to reorder from Nick's Boots, I most likely would reorder these on the 55 last because I love the arch support on the 55 last. I would get a pull tab on these because having a fully gusseted tongue, it does take effort to push my foot through the throat. And you know, I think I would have liked to have gotten like a 7-inch boot. So the $1 million question is, would I purchase these boots again? I would purchase these boots again in a heartbeat. I love these boots. I'm super happy with Nick's boots. And the value to the quality of the boots is a really good value in my opinion, just because you're getting a super heavy duty, durable boot. And I think that Nick's is providing it at a really good price point. Now, if you compare these to other work boots that you can find at big box retailers, or even Red Wing work boots or Wolverine work boots, you might be thinking, well, these are more than double the price or almost double the price, depending on the build that you get from Nick's boots. Are these really worth it? I think, of course, this boot's gonna last you 10 times longer than any of those boots. Nick's boots, in my opinion, has some of the, if not the toughest, most durable, rugged boots you can get. If somebody was asking me, David, what's the best work boot I can get? I would point them in the direction of Nick's. My question to you guys is, what's been your experience with Nick's boots and the other Pacific Northwest boot makers? I've never tried Frank's, I've never tried JK's or Wesco's. If you guys have experience with the other P&W boot makers, let me know down in the comments. What's been your experience with the other Pacific Northwest boot makers? Would you recommend Nick's? Maybe you prefer another P&W boot maker over Nick's? Let me know down in the comments. But that's everything I have for you guys. I really do appreciate you watching. This is my 4-month review on my Nick's boots in Predator Whiskey on their H&W last. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video.